You missed it. What'd you say?
Oh! Whoa! Whoa!
We've had some great experiences at Grapevine Farms. Our first investigation back in November yielded some of the most compelling experiences and evidence we've ever encountered. Then, in January, we helped host a ghost hunt dinner and event there that introduced the paranormal side of this location to even more people. So, we were thrilled to be invited back to investigate here again. One of the nice things about being familiar with a location is that you can use your previous experiences to plan your next investigation. Since we've captured paranormal activity in just about every corner of the original section of this building, we wanted to have it covered as best as possible. Because of this, we went with an unprecedented 9 cameras, including, for the first time ever, a live nerve center. The first 5 cameras we're using were our usual 4K full spectrum cameras. These cameras see both in the infrared and ultraviolet spectrum of light, which our eyes cannot. The video taken on these cameras have a purple or pinkish hue, which is all the video footage we've ever shown in any of our videos. The other 4 cameras in our brand new nerve center only see an infrared light. They're also in a slightly lower definition, so they'll be a little less clear than our 4K cameras. So any of the footage from these cameras you'll see is going to look black and white, and slightly less vivid. We would also be introducing yet another tombstone to David Hiltz's room during the night to see how he, or the other spirits, react to it. And finally, we were the first paranormal investigators to ever be invited to spend the night in David's room with all of these tombstones. It was an honor, and we gladly took them up on the offer. So before we get into the investigation, here's the setup of the equipment. We put the live infrared cameras in the basement, the tombstone room, and the 2 main downstairs rooms in the old farmhouse. We set up our 4K full spectrum cameras in the basement, the candle room, the second floor hallway, and the attic, with the 5th being used as a handheld camera that we will also use to take full-spectrum digital still photos. With all that equipment set up, we turned off the lights and, with a little help from the owners and some staff, began our next investigation of Grapevine Farms. We've had a lot of experiences in the basement. A psychic medium once told the owners of a spirit of a small child that resides here. This spirit identified himself as Michael in an audio clip from our first investigation.
Michael?
We believe he talked to us again during this investigation, as you'll see in the following EVP clips that were picked up by our camera. EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomena. These are voices that our equipment pick up, but we cannot hear with our own ears. The most interesting part of these voices is that they are intelligent, meaning these voices are responding directly to what we are asking or what we're doing. In this first clip, I have just turned on the camera and I felt something around me. Notice that I'm looking around the room. As I turn to leave, our camera picks up a voice making a request of me. This next clip happened just after the first one, and it is also intelligent. In this clip, I'm talking to Michael as I go up the stairs to turn off the lights to start the investigation. We talk to the spirits a lot during all phases of setup, investigation, and teardown. Some people may think it's odd, but we find that the more you talk to them, the more they talk to you. So that's what I'm doing here. I make a comment about not knowing how old Michael is as I head up the stairs. He apparently heard me, and answers.
Michael, I brought some people your age. Well, close to your age. We don't really know how old you are. Go ahead. Yeah, there's that. Michael, I brought some people your age. Well, close to your age. We don't really know how old you are. Go ahead. Yeah, there's that.
This final audio clip from the basement is one of the most intelligent responses we've ever received. Like the previous clip, it's an immediate response to something I'm saying.
Will you tell me where to go? Are you hiding in the closet?
before you tell me where to go? Are you hiding in the closet? Our experiences in the basement were not just audio. We used a REM pod here as well. A REM pod uses an antenna to radiate its own independent magnetic field around it. This electromagnetic field can be easily influenced by materials and objects that conduct electricity. Based on source proximity and strength, an energy that it senses will light up between 1 to 4 lights on the pod, as well as sound the alarm. The strongest spike on the REM pod during the night came when Tim, one of the owners, was in the basement by himself. To be fair, he didn't know the pod was there, or what it was measuring. So it was quite alarming to him, and he reacted the way that most people would react to something like that.
Nothing going on around you now.
You missed it, what'd you say?
I'm talking to the devil.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
But it's very likely a radio devil.
At first, we thought this may have been interference from one of our two-way radios going off just before the pod lights up. However, there are multiple clips of voices coming over the radio while we're in the basement that does not set off the REM pod. Also, to add to the validity of the event, the pod goes off again about 20 seconds after Tim left the basement. The REM pod also went off on its own 2 other times during the night when no one was down there, which meant it was sensing some energy in its area. The final piece of evidence from the basement is one of over 800 full-spectrum digital still photos we took during the night. Early in the night, I snapped this photo in the basement. At first, it doesn't look that much different than the rest of them, until you look right here. This looks very much like a face. The human mind tends to make faces out of things. It's called pareidolia. Our minds look for something recognizable in patterns and images. Could this potential face be the pattern in the bags of the pillow behind this table? Absolutely. So, how do we go about trying to determine if that's what this is? Let's take a look at the other 20-plus pictures of this same spot taken during the night. They show that there isn't anything that occupies this same space with that same shape. If it were a bag or a pillow, it should be in all of these pictures. Is this Michael, or some other spirit's face that we caught in this photo? We can't say for sure. Is it paranormal? We can't say that for sure either. For now, the best we can classify this picture as is unexplained, but very interesting. Moving all the way upstairs to the attic now. We had a lot happen here on our first investigation, from the ornament spinning on its own to capturing the thermal image of a child. While it wasn't quite as active on this night, we did catch several EVPs and light anomalies in this room.
Tracy, sit tight for a minute.
I was trying to get the what?
I said, Tracy, sit tight for a minute.
I was trying to get it to knock.
This next clip is another example of an intelligent response, as it repeats what Emily says she thought the Phasma box had just said earlier.
My hand?
This final clip from the attic may sound a little out of place, but it's very interesting. Our only lead as to what this could mean comes from a reading a psychic medium had previously done in this room. She claimed there was a spirit of a Civil War soldier who had abandoned his unit hiding in this attic. Is this him telling us that he regrets deserting his unit before the war was over? We don't know for sure, but it's a compelling piece of evidence. A week or so before this investigation, one of the owners told us that an item flew off the shelf right in front of him in the candle room. We were anxious to try to get the spirits to do this again, but it didn't happen that night. However, we did capture several light anomalies and an EVP in this room.
Video, I think. I'm going to try and recreate the exact spot.
The one EVP we caught in this room is very clear. After you hear the EVP, you're going to hear noises. Those noises aren't paranormal. Those are actually us walking up the stairs. We feel that this clip is two spirits, one talking and the other responding. We don't know the exact meaning of what they're saying, but it's two voices we haven't heard before. And now, to David's room. David Hiltz is the most well-known spirit of Grapevine Farms. It seems all the other spirits know who he is as well, and they also know that he can be quite a curmudgeon.
I was kind of curious about, do they like the change? Do they not like the change? Are they upset with me? I mean, because
He's not just unfriendly to us, the other spirits, and the owners, but also to equipment. This room drains our batteries more than any other room at Grapevine. However, he also wreaks havoc on other equipment. Check out this Facebook Live session that recently appeared on Grapevine's Facebook page.
okay, this is our David Hiltz room.
We used to call this the baby room because when we first opened, that's what we had in here was baby things. But we've renamed this. This is the David Hiltz room. This is where we believe David Hiltz's ghost resides. And he's been described by many different people as a crotchety old curmudgeon. Not harmful, just grumpy.
Tracy called David a grouch, and the session just cut out. They actually had to restart it and log everyone back in before they could continue. We've also experienced similar issues with our live feed cameras cutting out or losing signal during the investigations. David can be a real pain like that. We were all anxious to see how David was going to feel about having a roommate that night, as Emily was going to be the first paranormal investigator to ever spend a night in that room. Before any of that, we would be introducing another tombstone into the room. This is now the third stone that resides in this room. The first is David's, which the owners found when they first purchased the property. The second we believe to be David's wife's footstone. We introduced this into the room the night of our ghost hunt event back in January. We're uncertain if this new footstone, marked only with the initials DH, is David's, or perhaps one of his children's. Even before this new stone came into the room, there were some things going on in here. We also caught this very interesting clip of a mist-like anomaly. What makes this even more unique is that you'll hear whistling at the same time it enters the screen. No one else was upstairs at the time, no one was whistling, and there was no one in the parking lot, as it is very late and the store was closed for some time. Just after the new DH stone is brought into the room, I entered David's room to see how everything was going. At this time, our full-spectrum camera in the hallway caught something very interesting. We captured this quick movement right by the door to David's room. If you zoom in on it, you can see that it isn't solid. At first, we thought this might be my elbow or my arm moving quickly by the doorway, until we looked at the footage from David's room at this exact time. I am clearly all the way into the room when this happens. So what is this? We don't know. We do find it interesting, however, that it happened very close to the spot we captured the face photo in our last investigation. After we finished investigating, it was time for Emily to go to bed in David's room. She changed clothes and set the clothes on the chair, known as David's chair. A few seconds after she left the room, this happened. Could this just be gravity? Absolutely. However, what happened 30 seconds later cannot be explained away with gravity. It's very quick, so we'll play it a few times. The strap of her tank top moves to the side. It happens so fast that it almost looks fake. However, the movement takes a few fractions of a second, so we'll show you frame by frame what the movement is. What makes this more compelling is that the clothes remain perfectly still for the rest of the night after this happens. However, Emily did not remain still all night. At one point, she reacts to a noise by the camera. She actually lifted her head up to try to see what it was. The main question we had was this: would David or any of the other spirits know she was there? Would they care that she was there? She slept soundly and nothing happened to her or around her beyond what we've shown here. However, there's one last piece of audio that proves at least one spirit knew that she was there. This EVP is very faint, so you might want to use headphones in order to hear it. This 150-plus-year-old structure is home to a wide variety of spirits, young and old, who make themselves known in many different ways. As an investigator, you feel like you get to know the spirits in a location the more time you spend with them. You strive to understand their world, what drives them and what keeps them here. And, allowing their voices to be heard, you hope to be able to help them find at least a little peace. We are already looking forward to our next experiences with the spirits of Grapevine Farms. As always, thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more of our videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow our day-to-day adventures by liking our Facebook page. For any more information about us, or to contact us directly, please visit our website, www.orangecountynYparanormal.com.